All right, this is now take 4 of this video. Trying to find the right words, trying to say what's important and not what's also a problem, but not the current issue. Oh my gosh, my feelings have been all over the place, and I have now done this 4 times, with this being the 4th, and I still don't know where to start it, so I'm just gonna start talking. A word that a word that has been hitting my heart super hard lately has been tokenism. The idea of me being the only kind of person in my whatever group or whatever, and highlighting on that and using that is a problem. So I'm just gonna jump right in. I have notes because I don't want to not forget anything or whatever. But one of the first instances was when I did Beauty and the Beast. Now these, let me pause for a second. I posted a while back on Facebook about how I'm no longer affiliated with Star Repertory Theater. And in that post, I said that I wasn't going to bash on them and say negative things and be just that kind of person because I didn't feel at that time that, keyword at that time, that I needed to do that. I just wanted to step away and it be a clean slate. However, my feelings have changed. And I'm still not here to completely just say they did this, blah, 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 blah. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to share my experiences as a black man in a company. There's a lot of stuff going on with CYT. I've never worked with them. I never plan on it. I never wanted to. Personally, I just wasn't for me. But there's a lot of, I will say statements, because I'm not going to say allegations because that just assumes that they aren't true. But a lot of statements have been made from people, for those who don't know, which I don't know how you don't know, but yeah. CYT is under fire about some sexual abuse and racism and tokenism and all this kind of stuff. Side note of what I'm going to talk about, I'm going to talk about CYT for a second. CYT issued a statement, like a little itty-bitty little worded document, whatever, completely ignoring everything. Then I saw this morning they had a 12-minute press conference on the news. Again, ignoring everything. I don't understand how you as a company can think that it's okay to, again, say that these are allegations and not true, when clearly when you get asked a question and then don't answer and have a little smirk on your face, you know what's going on. You absolutely 100% know what is going on, and the whole hashtag CYT knew. They knew about everything. There's no way that they can say, oh, we had no idea this is going on. Just because you were the president now and it's happened before does not mean you haven't heard about it. You can't just walk into a company saying, I'm your president now. I don't know anything what's happened before. You have to know what's going on. You have to have been around. So that whole thing was pointless and made it worse. I'd rather CYT have shut up more about it, and just been more silent until finally get a good enough statement than to do what they did today, because it made it worse, in my opinion. Anyway, back to my story. I apologize if you hear language that is used in this video. I apologize if you feel uncomfortable in this video. This is life. So now I was talking about one of my first shows performing. Actually, let's talk about that one. One of the first shows was Les Mis. And at the time, they had a black entourage on Broadway. And the company had found out that I could sing, because at first I went in as a choreographer and that was it. But they found out I could sing and perform, so they were like, "Oh my God, you should be Entourage." And now thinking about it, I think that I was again the only token black guy in the show. But I think the fact that they saw it being a thing on Broadway, they thought, "Ooh, this is trendy. Let's do this. Let's have a black entourage," and because blah 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 blah. The experience was good. The show was great. Me playing the role was a good time. But thinking about it now, it's just tokenism. You're gonna hear that word a lot in this video. I am not sorry. One of the next shows was Beauty and the Beast. I was cast as Beast. Pause. I originally was just doing choreography. But then they said, "Oh, you should be Beast." Because they found out I could sing and they knew that I had some kind of talent. So they wanted my voice to be heard. And I'm like, okay, sure, great. So we get, this is a community theater, for those who don't know. There were 3 casts, 3 different beasts. 2 of the beasts were POC. One other one was not POC, just white guy. Love him to death, but white guy. My biggest thing about this show is representation. In the show, as Beast, eventually he has to transform back into Prince. Because of the makeup or whatever, 2 of the 3 beasts could not transform into their prince. Spoiler alert, it was the 2 POC actors, me and the other guy. The white guy could be his own prince. That was because of the fact that the daughter at the time who was playing Belle was in love with this guy, and she wanted to be able to kiss him as a prince. So they worked around that. They worked around that situation to find a way for him to be his own prince. But when it came to me and the other guy, there was no way. No way. It still doesn't make sense to me, their reasoning, but it whatever. The fact that if I were a little black boy in theater, because I was once a little black boy in theater, I wanted to see representation. I want to see my people on stage. Flashback to when I was like 7, 8, 9 years old. I went to Disney on Ice a couple times, and every time I would ask my mom, "Where's all the black people at?" And she didn't have an answer. And I don't blame her, because to be honest, you don't see many black ice skaters to begin with, especially in a Disney thing. So that's beside this point. But the fact that I've been so racially aware since then is my point. So fast forwarding, if I were a little black boy wanting to see this show, I could not open the program and see that he was black, because that was an argument that was used when I talk about this by the director. The idea of me just going there and seeing a show as a little kid, to be able to see a black actor go from this monster of a beast to this caring, loving beast into a prince, that would be an amazing sight to see. But because of the fact that I could not be my own prince, you're now seeing the representation of people of color on stage. Because you're not also saying that I'm only good for my voice when I'm not being seen, because I'm wearing a full mask and all this bodysuit and stuff like that. You're now saying that I'm good for that, but when Prince comes, I can't do that. But yet you found a way for it for the third Prince, the white one. Interesting. And that also gives all that credit to a little kid's mind. That gives all the credit from the entire show to the one Prince that turned into the Prince. In that moment, and that can ruin somebody. Yes, at the end of Bows, I came out as Beast, but the principle. So that's representation. I'll go to Legally Blonde. At this time, I was choreographing the show and lighting design for the show. There were two casts. There was one where a younger cast, more of a teen cast, for lack of a better term, and an older one. We had a boy cast as Emmett for the younger cast, but we couldn't find anybody for the older cast. Just couldn't find anybody. Or they couldn't do the show, or conflicts were too much, or whatever. I then offered, keyword offered to be this role, which was Emmett. And they were all for it. I was like, it's gonna be a lot of work because Legally Blonde is a big show. There's a joke that I actually assistant directed it, but I didn't. But the idea that I had help when it comes to choreography because I needed to. There was no way I could do that all by myself and design lights and be in the show. So I had help. But during the process and during the show specifically, I just got this incredible sense of, from the audience or whatever, the idea, and it's part of my fault being crazy, they cast a black guy as the leading role, the lead male role. Look at that. I was one of two black males in that show. There were max, maybe, I don't know, 8 POC in that show, out of the two casts. And I just felt so much pressure because I'm now looked at as, that's the black guy on stage at this time. And it kind of drove me crazy. And I didn't tell anybody about it because that was the norm at the time, is to be the token black guy. Whether it's a joke or not, like it's still a thing, and it's still not a good thing. But I got a lot of pressure in my own sense from that experience. The following show was All Shook Up. Again, I was choreographer and lighting designer, and they had no guys, period, for this show to be in the ensemble. So I, again, offered my services to be in the ensemble. I was the only black person, period, in that show. There were maybe 2 or 3 other POC. Maybe, but like, not much. And again, gave me pressure of like, I'm the only black person on stage. I now have to represent my entire community. And one thing that I didn't mention the last time I tried to record this was, as the ensemble member, I offered, because I like to do it, I like to scream my face off, I like to riff and all that kind of stuff. But I offered to do the high riff girl part. And not realizing that during the show, it makes me fit the stereotype even more. Oh, there's a black guy, here he comes screaming his face off and belting and stuff like that. Tokenism, token black guy. In these shows, you always hear these big black women, sassy black women that are coming and they sing this big song and they get show-stopping numbers, and then you don't see them the whole rest of the show. That's kind of what it felt like. And this part of this is not to talk about the company and their decisions. It's just the fact that it's a thing. The idea of, like I said, a black person coming in, doing the show-stopping number, and then leaving. Yeah. Funny I say that, it goes into my next show. Grease. Greece is a time period piece of some sort. There were, I want to say, like four, not that many, my point, people of color. There was a black couple, me and a friend. We had no choice, obviously, because it's a period piece. But I was working at the company for 2015. I left 2016 for a year because I just needed to get away. I came back for Greece. I choreographed the show with someone else, and I ended up I asked the producer, and I was like, so I heard from multiple sources that you have no guys for Danny Zuko. Do you need me to be Danny Zuko? And she said, well, we have a little collaboration with the writer of the show, Jim Jacobs, so we're trying to make it as much as the movie as possible. That statement bothers me to this day. This statement, like the movie or like the show or like Broadway or whatever. You don't need to copy and paste. Just do what you want, and don't copy and paste. So come to find out, Jim Jacobs did not care whatsoever. He also encouraged POC casting, and I immediately went, because he came to rehearsal, I immediately turned to them and I was like, interesting. But so I didn't get cast as Danny Zuko, and me and other POC actors who were in the running. But however, they cast a certain POC actor because they wanted them to fall in love with their daughter, who was playing Sandy. So they're willing to do that for their daughter, but they're not willing to just cast the role. Yeah. So then I get cast as Teen Angel instead. Going back to what I was saying, black guy comes in, sings this one song, stops the whole show, leaves. I'm not trying to be cocky. I'm not trying to say I'm the best thing in the world. But the rest of the show it's written that Teen Angel comes in and sings this song, nothing like anything else in the whole show, and then leaves. I will say that it was a moment of the show that kind of was a showstopper. I'm not gonna lie. Just from what people have told me and other things. My point being, tokenism. That's just another reason, or another example. Actually my first show with the company was Addams Family as a choreographer. Because I was the only black guy in the show, or involved with the company at the time. The director wanted to add a bit. There's some line about someone asked, "Oh, do you know what every American wants but can't get or whatever?" And someone says, "Healthcare." The director wanted me to come out as Barack Obama and say Obamacare. My problem with this is it would not have happened if I wasn't there. They would not have gotten a non-black person to say that line because it wouldn't make any sense. But it was okay for me to because I'm black. At the time, it was funny, sure. I didn't want to do it to begin with because I thought it was ridiculous. But he kept hounding me about it, and so finally I just gave in and did it. I didn't do it every show because I didn't feel like it, but I still did it. And that was just that was my first example of tokenism with the company. The big story, or I guess not the big story, but one of the most heart-hitting ones that I have was when I played Judas, Jesus Christ Superstar. First of all, me, the director, and a couple others decided to try out for a different production at a different company of the same show, and didn't get cast. Whatever reason, not gonna talk about it. So the director did it completely out of spite. did his own production out of spite, which, no. At first, I get cast because I'm thinking I can sing the role, it'll be a good fit for me, blah, 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 blah. Later, I find out, because I've never seen the 1970s movie of the show, but I find out that he loved it so much that he wanted to do, his favorite thing, like the movie. I find out that Judas was black, and it made me want to explode, because you see that, or now I'm wondering, are you casting me in this role because of my talent? Or are you casting because the guy in the movie was black? And that's all you care about. I have my own issues about that show in itself. Yeah. No one cares. And when I reference to like the movie kind of stuff, it doesn't matter because people come to see your interpretation of the show as a director. They don't come to see the movie on stage. They don't come to see a Disney movie, a cartoon brought to you on stage, copy and paste. They don't come. People don't see theater for that reason. So it bothered me. He then goes on. I was one of two black people in the movie or in the show because they were black in the movie. Me and Mary, or ethnic, I should say. I have a conversation with both of them like a couple months ago. Kind of find out he used that show as a example of his diverse casting. Plot twist: you can't say that you are diverse casting if you're just copying what someone else did because of the way you like it or the way how you want to be hip and trendy. Being POC in theater is not hip and trendy. Being POC in theater is just being POC in theater. It's not a phase that, this is... For people who think that the next couple of years are going to be, okay, we're going to cast people of color in all our shows, and then we'll go back to normal. No. We're changing the normal so that we can actively get cast in roles just because of our talent. Obviously, period pieces need to be period pieces. You can't have a white seaweed and a white Motormouth and a black Tracy and a black Link or whatever that defeats the whole purpose in Hairspray. Period pieces stay period pieces. But shows like, Jesus Christ Superstar, you don't need to be a white Jesus, because Jesus wasn't white anyways. But that's beside the point. So that's I'm getting too much off the topic, but that was my issue with saying, I've done diverse casting. What are you talking about? You're copying pasting. That's not the same thing. Another issue I had was speaking of Hairspray, the idea that we were going to do the show, and I told them, same thing with any ethnic show, to be honest. I told them, I was like, how are we going to do the show? Because currently we don't have enough people of color to do this show. And I kid you not, they said, can't you recruit some people from whatever show you've done in the past? First of all, no, because you charge tuition for your shows and they are professionally paid actors. So that's number one. Number two, they're not going to want to do this community theater, youth theater production. Number three, how dare you? How dare you assume that because I'm black, I know black people? Whether it's true or not is beside the point. It truly is. I'm not going to go out and recruit people for a show just because I am black. That is your job as a producer to be more open. And if you really want it, you will pay for it. Or not pay for it, or however you want to word that. And this is not the first time. It has happened multiple times. There have been other issues that are, I shouldn't say issues, other statements that people have said about Star Repertory Theater, but it's not my story to tell. It's not my job to But I was talking to a friend, I love her to death, and this is a quote that she said to me. Youth companies, that shit is damaging for life. And that alone is enough to start right there. Obviously horrible in any setting, but if kids that think that this is how theater is supposed to be, no. We have to create change from community theater to youth theater all the way to professional theater. It cannot be the norm, and it cannot be a starting point or introduction to theater for children and teens. None of it. Assault, harassment, homophobia, transphobia, racism, colorism, tokenism, none of it. I could not agree more. Briefly talking about the learning capabilities of a child nowadays, the fact that I'm recording on a phone, the phone, a phone has so much power in this generation. They can find out things in a hot second. They can post things and change the world. It can do so much. Seeing that all this stuff is happening and being said, and you doing nothing about it, is teaching them that it's okay to do those things. It's okay to assault people verbally or whatever, or harass them, or be homophobic, or it's not okay, but you're now showing them that it is okay to do those things because you're silent about it and not saying anything. Talking about silence and all these stories that have come out, and experiences and statements, the company has yet to say anything. Their mentality, because I've been there for 5 years, is, oh, well, I'm not going to feed interest into this because I'm just going to block the haters and they're just trying to ruin our company and blah, 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 blah. That is not true. I'm not here to ruin the company. I'm not here to shut it down. I'm here to share my experiences and my story, because it matters, with people to know that these things are happening. And I feel like I need to express that. Whether you get shut down or not is not because of me. It's not because of me saying the truth. It's not from anybody in their statement saying the truth. It's because of the actions and the lack of actions that have happened. By you ignoring and not saying anything about all this stuff, you have now turned a blind eye, and you are not responding. But also the biggest thing to me is that you're just showing you that you don't care. You don't care that people are talking crap about you. You don't care that people are hurting. You don't care that people are trying to change the world, and you're stuck in whatever mentality you have. It does nothing for anybody except for you. It makes you look, I mean, in your brain, I'm sure you, I'm not saying you people, I'm saying you as in like, you get me. It makes them look as if they're the victims. And I could not tell you how many times that they have made themselves the victims when it's not them at all. Truly. Again, I've been there for 5 years. I have seen and heard some things. But again, I'm not here to do that. I'm here to tell my story. I will say this as well. The last show I did there was Carrie. Shout out to my Carrie cast. Love you all so much. I not only... I did everything for that show. I did everything. Except for musical director, because I can't do that. But the owners went on vacation, and they were gone for 3 weeks of rehearsal. And once the show was shut down because of COVID during Tech Week, some things were said online by parents and talking to the young adults and teens. And first of all, why are you, as an adult woman, trying to tear down these young teens and young adults for speaking their mind? And this is in the heart of like when Black Lives Matter protests started happening. So I'm already emotionally charged up. So yeah. Some things were said, a lot of arguments happened, and I was thrown on the bus repeatedly, over and over and over again, saying that I should have handled it. Why is it my job to handle things? Just because I'm the director and the choreographer of the show does not mean I'm in charge of the whole damn company. Show me on paper where I am in charge of the whole damn company, please. Because you went on vacation, I'm in charge of the company and I'm supposed to handle these things. When you came back from vacation 2 months before the show had to close, it's not my job. All this stuff happened 3-4 months down the line from after you came back. So the idea of, oh, well, he's in charge. He's our token director and choreographer and lighting designer. He needs to do it. Not the case. No, absolutely not. I'm here to direct the show, not direct people's lives on social media. Simple as that. I also realized that being called your token black son because you love me like a family member is a big problem. I never really said anything about it because, again, back then, being a token black guy was a joke and it was funny and whatever. But now I'm trying to figure out, and I'm pretty sure I realized that you have treated me with so much love and respect because I'm valuable to you in your company. I can count on one hand the amount of times that we actually hung out as people and not talked about theater and not talked about work. I knew you for 5 years. I knew these people for 5 damn years. And I can probably count on one hand, which is 5, of the amount of times that we actually talked and hung out as a quote-unquote family. But every time that we were out, we would talk about work and how you needed me to do this and needed me to do that and how you appreciate my work so much because I'm valuable to you. I was a choreographer from 2015 to, I skipped 2016, 2015, came back 2017 to 2020. I was a lighting designer from mid-2017 to 2020. I did every single show. Minus 1 or 2 here and there. But that was because I was too busy doing a different show of theirs. My value and my worth, I know what I can and can't do. It is very clear that I was not respected enough as a person. Not even as a black person, but as a person trying to create theater for the love of theater. Throw being black out the window. Like I wanted to create moments and create visuals and do things with emotions about theater, but I couldn't do any of that because I was too busy worrying about what work I had to do left on the show or the next show. Again, value. Me, people are gonna be pissed about this. I literally quit my job. I had a backup plan, just to get money, but I quit my regular day job so I could focus on that company. Because that's how much investment I put into that company. I wasn't getting paid much. Plot twist, I had a deal, but it's volunteer work only. I saying it out loud now, the fact that I quit my job to be a glorified volunteer and working long hours and getting no sleep to get choreography in my brain for the show or whatever. They had me on a leash. I literally was a pet, for lack of a better term. He pulled me out of the little pocket saying, "Oh my God, sprinkle your magic on the show and make it look good." Because I'm sorry, I've had friends that were there before me and they said that the shows were not good or not fun at all until I got there. Not saying that I'm the best thing in the world, I know that. But I also know my worth. And I know what I'm capable of. Because I'm proud of myself. Ooh, that hit me hard, just saying that. Ooh. I'm getting kind of upset now with myself for being in that situation. But yeah, that's what it is. With me quitting, and it's probably the last part I'm going to talk about. I was also living in one of their houses. They own property, and one of the houses me and some friends lived in who were doing shows at the company. They were our landlords, and after the entire house really decided to leave the company, we unexpectedly get a 60 days notice to vacate the premises. Because of California law, they don't need to give us a reason, which is part of the problem. But yeah, they decided to, for whatever reason, tell us to get out. I luckily found a place. I was, here I am in my new apartment. But the part that is the worst is, as I was moving out, going through my closet, taking stuff out or whatever, I found mold all over the wall. Could not tell you how long it's been there because it was in my closet. It explains why I have not been feeling the best the past couple weeks of me living there. I feel fine now, don't worry about it. But I found mold, and I have been breathing it in. So I immediately sent them an email saying I moved out, blah, 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 blah. Also, here's a picture of what I found in my closet. There's no way that I can plant it there. I'm not saying that they would say that, but there's no way I could put it there. I don't have the artistic skills to paint it on the wall. It's there. It probably still is there. And I let them know, and I was pretty straightforward about it. I have yet to hear anything about it. They have ignored my email completely. So that tells me that you are not only childish and don't want to talk to anybody about problems because they hate confrontation, but you also don't give a shit about my health. You said so much, and it furthers my point of being just valuable to them, because had I told them when I was still working for them, oh my God, I would have been in a hotel by now and with my dog while they fixed it. But the second that I quit their company and I'm not valuable to them anymore, they ignore the fact that my health is at risk. It's a great look, guys. It's a great look. I'm tired of being treated like dirt. And to be honest, I feel like it would still happen if I was white. It's because that's the kind of people that they are. It's very clear. After people that I've talked to that have left because of whatever reason, they were friends when they were there and they're not now because they left. And they think, oh, I'm the victim now because they left me and they didn't talk to me yet and blah, 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 blah. Newsflash, all of this nonsense about me moving out and me quitting the company and being silent about Black Lives Matter and all this stuff could have been prevented had you talked to me. Because then also, oh, I forgot about this too. During the height of Black Lives Matter and stuff, they threw me under the bus saying, "Oh well, Kevin was asked to make a statement for the company." Excuse me, I was not. No such thing. It's not my job as a director of choreography and lighting designer to say any official statement about the company for the company. You want me to say something because I'm black and it's my movement? That's how it feels. And that's a much bigger problem. Grow a pair of balls and do it yourself. Be a human and care about people. You want me to say, as the black person of this company, I stand with this company and we stand for this and blah, blah, blah. No. I can say whatever I want on my personal stuff. I will never, ever stand for a company just because I'm the black person there. If I'm in charge of the company, okay, yes, obviously I will say something. But I'm never going to make an official statement as just a glorified volunteer. Absolutely not. Baffling to me. But because you're too worried about the company going into debt and you're losing money and blah, 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 I do not give a shit. It's not my problem. My problem is the fact that my people are being murdered for no reason. That's my problem. I don't care about the company losing money. I don't care about anything else except for I want justice for my people. I want equality. That's all I care about. That was a tangent that I was not trying to go on, but it needed to be said. Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. Anyways, that was probably the gotta go moment. But I appreciate if you watched all this video. I hope that my experiences and stories enlighten people to help change the world, because this place needs to desperately change. Desperately.